On there, folks. Good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this finally Friday. We made it. Got the weekend upon us. Going to be a pretty busy weekend in Southern California. It is August 18th, 2023, about 11:36 a.m. California time, so still technically Friday morning. Latest quake on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 1.4. Alaska also some activity into the areas around the Banda Sea. 4.4 coming in there south of the Philippines. Going to start off here today, though, with some important news out here for the Southern California area. Very rare and first time ever, tropical storm watch has been issued for Southern California. You can see that there in the yellow line indicating that tropical storm watch. Kind of a big deal. A little bit further down the line here, there is a what looks to be a hurricane watch in the pink color, and then further down a hurricane warning. So, of course, the further away from the hurricane center you are, the less it'll be as far as the warning and watches go. But right now, the main threat is going to be this hurricane warning right here off the coast or within the coast of Baja California area, and of course, you got a hurricane watch, which is going to be probably turning into a warning here soon. But look at that. Southern California getting in on the first ever tropical storm watch. Goodness. So, this is some serious stuff here going on with the Hurricane Hilary, which is now a Category 4. Let's go ahead and check out the latest information here from the Hurricane Center, NOAA.gov. As of 12 p.m. here, this is Mountain Time. We're looking at sustained winds of 145 miles per hour. Now, that's a Category 4 hurricane. It is moving northwest at 10 miles per hour. So it looks as though this hurricane is just going to take a little bit more westward motion here. I'll show you guys in the model imagery here in just a minute. These are the expected arrival times as a strong hurricane there off the coast of Baja California around 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Sunday, a little bit further up the coast of Baja California. We're expecting an arrival in Southern California. It looks like it's going to be a little bit earlier now, maybe possibly around, midnight or so, just into early Monday morning, overnight, while most people are going to be sleeping, I believe, because they do have a tropical storm up here, Southern California, not a depression, but a tropical storm entering into the Southern California area at 6 a.m. Monday morning. But I think the arrival here will be, you can pretty much split this in half here between 6 p.m., 6 a.m. That would make that midnight, early Monday morning. So some interesting stuff here. And, of course, this is all subject to change. This beautiful hurricane, let me show you guys here over the last couple days here. I pulled up the last 120 hours, right? I believe that is. This is overnight. Notice that strengthening, well-defined eye. This is today. Still got a beautiful eye. It's just not as defined due to the feature that the satellite imagery uses. But overnight, goodness, look at that. Still headed in a northwestward direction here. That is a pretty powerful hurricane. Whether it gets up to a Category 5, we'll definitely have to see if that happens or not. Current wind speed probability map. Let's go ahead and check this now. This is a little bit more advanced than what it was yesterday. A little bit more into Southern California. Who knows what tomorrow's going to bring. Maybe this will bring hurricane force winds into Southern California. You just never know. These hurricanes are obviously unpredictable. But right now it's gaining strength, holding steady. There's not a lot in the way. Maybe a little bit of cooler water here off the coast of Southern California, but I don't know if that's going to prevent that from continuing to march on. Here is the tropical storm force wind probabilities for the next 120 hours. So obviously there in Southern California, got a good chance. Looks like around 50% chance or so. And even all the way up here in the portions deeper into Southern California, got a percentage of seeing tropical storm force winds. So this is kind of a big deal, folks. Arrival time of winds. Looks like Sunday, 8 p.m. So, of course, that's going to be just prior to the arrival of the area of circulation. That's when you're going to see the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds there in Southern California. Roughly around Sunday, 8 p.m. is what they're stating. There's the watches. Hurricane watch, hurricane warning in the red, tropical storm watch in the yellow. And of course, as this gets closer, and if everything holds up, these will turn into warnings, a hurricane warning and a tropical storm warning. But this is very rare to see a tropical storm watch all the way there into Southern California. And I was reading a couple articles here that most of the time the hurricanes head up in this direction are during the El Nino events, and we do have a strong El Nino right now. Let me bring this up here and show you guys real quick before I continue on with the hurricane. Current El Nino conditions here. Let me show you guys. This is from July. Notice the heating out here in the Pacific. Also very warm, above average temperatures here for the Pacific Ocean in general. But there is some cooling water here just off the coast of California. But as you can see, very warm off the coast of Mexico. It'd be interesting to see what happens when it gets into this somewhat cooler environment. A little bit lower than the average normal temperature here for the ocean in this area. But the El Nino definitely going strong. We'll continue to watch that, though, throughout the winter time and see how that affects the California weather. U.S. potential rainfall out here. Notice that the area here has advanced in terms of where the potential for strong, heavy rain accumulation is going to take place. It's outside of this area that we seen yesterday. It was mainly defined here across the Salton Sea. Well, this is a much broader area, including Los Angeles, San Diego, compared to yesterday's event. Now, I want to show you guys the weather model. Here's just another current image of Hurricane Hilary. Forecast models is what I'm after. Let me show you guys this here and see what we look like for today. I'm going to back out of here and go to the West Coast. Western U.S. Crazy to think a hurricane coming to Southern California. Goodness. All right, so we're going to put this into motion. This is a weather model. This is the GFS weather model, which most of the time is pretty accurate. Now, last night here, it's staying pretty consistent here. It looks like it does want to put the area of circulation just right to the east of Los Angeles, but bring in quite a bit of rainfall, not only to that area, but areas in the red and the orange up north of the Salton Sea area as well. Salton Sea is going to be right about there in the X, where the X is hovering over that little lake. And that's some big-time rain in the southern Sierra Nevada mountains, too. And after that, it looks as though it takes... remains north, and then it wants to head off towards the east there into once it gets up into Canada. But there will be some moisture lingering around for thunderstorms and whatnot following the arrival of this hurricane, which will by then up here be a tropical depression maybe. But yeah, that shows area of circulation right here over Southern California, and this looks a little bit more, aggressive here for the Southern California area, far as the precipitation. So Los Angeles, San Diego, big time population density out there, right? It's gonna be a wet one there, and this activity begins over the weekends with advancing these bands of thunderstorms and rains coming ahead of the arrival of the hurricane. Looks like Saturday into Sunday. Sunday's going to be a pretty wet day as well before the majority of that rain comes in Sunday night and into Monday. And here in Northern California, we might get a couple sprinkles, maybe a couple showers, but again, we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's the latest GFS imagery showing the arrival of that. Let me check out the windy map here, see what these guys have. Wind gust, we're going to scoot this into the weekend, obviously much closer, but a broader area of circulation. That's got to do with it heading over land. How much it weakens here will be, we'll have to watch. It's also dealing with some upper level winds there, high pressure that's parked over. Let's spot the high pressure out here, right? Look at that. Zoop. High pressure, northern hemisphere, clockwise. Counterclockwise here, going to be tropical storms, low pressure systems, and whatnot. But that's a major high pressure, and that has a lot to do with, kind of taking apart this hurricane. But we're going to watch this as it travels up this way across the Baja California area. Remember, a little bit cooler water in this area, high pressure. It's going to be taking a beating, but it looks as though, and it seems as though, this thing will be arriving as a tropical storm there in Southern California. Again, roughly about Sunday night or so, the arrival of the area of circulation here looks like right over Los Angeles. Notice that counterclockwise there. That's the area of circulation. Most of the strong winds, of course, are going to be on the eastern side here. I don't think Los Angeles is going to be too windy. But again, that's going to be Sunday night. And then, of course, as it heads further to the north and east, that dissipates. So, yeah, I mean, that's... let's see if Storm Prediction Center has anything going on here. They have a marginal risk for some severe weather, and that's probably due to the flooding concern out there across Southern California. Looks like maybe some severe wind gusts across parts of the lower Colorado Valley and the Mojave Desert late Sunday into Sunday night. There will be some thunderstorms. I don't know how much. But wind gusts and obviously that potential for flooding is going to be a big deal. Definitely a big deal. As Hurricane Hilary here continues to march on. Like I say, it's going to be very important here. It's still a ways off the Baja California tip. Once it reaches here, probably on Saturday, I'm thinking it should be around Saturday or so. But watch and see how this behaves. See how the hurricane behaves, because they can rapidly get torn apart. Similar to this one. Watch this one just have a little bit of convective activity, and for the most part it just dies away as it enters out into the cooler Pacific waters. But historic event, big time historic. Let me check out rainfall rates again here. That's kind of the big deal, I think. Yeah, you're going to have a little gusty winds, but the flooding potential is going to be the main threat here. Western United States. Precipitation accumulation here, total accumulated precipitation from the GFS model. That will show us what's going on out here. So right now, kind of dry, Southern California. I'm going to dump all that rainfall into the area of Southern Cal. That's going to be it right about there. So models have backed off slightly as far as the GFS model goes. It looks like some of these areas in the darker purple indicating upwards about 6 inches of rainfall or so. That's still quite a bit of rain. Could be locally heavy, but this is a broad area of folks receiving 6 inches of rain or potentially more. Again, this is all subject to even just slight variation here off the path could alter the course of these rainfall areas, east, west. So we're continuing to watch this. We're going to be doing 2 updates a day on this. And more if we need to, in regards to any type of variation in the path of Hurricane Hilary. I think it's definitely something we need to watch, and I'll definitely keep our eye on it. Right, our eyes on it. Let's see key messages here. Let's see what the Hurricane Center is mentioning here. This was put out again 9 a.m. Mountain time. It looks like August 18th. That's today. Heavy rainfall associated with Hilary could produce areas of flash flooding and result in landslides over portions of the Baja California peninsula late tonight through late Sunday. Rainfall impacts from Hilary within the southwestern United States are expected to peak this weekend into Monday. Flash urban and I don't even know how to say that. Flooding is expected with the potential for rare and dangerous impacts. Hurricane conditions are expected within portions of the hurricane warning area along the west central coast of the Baja California peninsula on Sunday and are possible in the hurricane watch area. Here's the tropical storm conditions are possible on Sunday in portions of southern Cal where a tropical storm watch has been issued. Of course, you got swelling potential as well in the seas, so we'll continue to watch that along the coastline. But still, just, be on guard. Everything still lining up here. Here's all your watches and warning in the text view. All this information is available, of course, through the National Hurricane Center and the Central Pacific Hurricane Center website. Shows you the latest information. Pressure at 939. That's a little drop from last night, 2773 on the barometric pressure. So things are continuing to hold steady. 145 mile per hour sustained winds. And again, moving northwest at, looks like it's slowed down slightly, a couple miles per hour there. 10 miles per hour compared to last night. I think it was about 12 or 13. So kind of a, interesting scenario to watch for sure, right? Just be prepared and make sure you guys have a plan. All right, let's go ahead and check out earthquake activity. We got anything popping up here overnight? Let's go ahead and check out USGS, see what we have. All right, looking at the bigger picture here, any areas of interest? I see a couple. Got some activity over here around the Andaman Sea. This is the northern edge here of the Java Trench. This earthquake activity pretty shallow though. South of Port Blair, looks like a couple force coming in overnight and this morning time period. Occasionally we do see some swarming out there. Let's see, there's that deeper activity into the Izu Trench from yesterday. No further adjustment upstream yet. Doesn't look like we've seen an increase over here yet either, so we'll continue to watch both of these regions of the Filipino plate for some movement. Most of the time, this deeper activity does trigger some upscale upstream pressure. Super deep earthquake up here into the Sea of Osk area. That's the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, 600 kilometers deep almost there for that 4.5. Just got a 4.9 coming in as we speak. To the Japan area, 60 kilometers deep. Definitely watch this area here of the Kuril-Kamchatka. We've seen a couple fours out here recently, somewhat at the subduction level here. Not too deep, not too shallow, but that's allowing, looks like, for some further slipping downstream underneath this area. Some deeper movement quakes here into the subduction zone. Of course, ultimately, that will further add stress and strain in the locked areas where the most of the potential for stored up energy is at, so to speak, across the subduction zone. So we'll watch that area for some possible movement down here across the Tonga area and the Vanuatu. One today looks like a 4.9. I don't think GeoNet, I don't have GeoNet on here, but we're going to check New Zealand here real quick and see what we got for activity, and then we'll get to the GeoNet servers and see what's going on here. Where are we? Okay, I don't know why I keep doing that. Oh, goodness. 2.3, 2.6, 2.9, couple earthquakes in the same area outside of Hastings, it looks like. 4.7 from yesterday. Let's double check the earthquake drums. See if we got anything major going on, any swarms. Obviously, we're going to see those 2-pointers showing up here roughly, around this station here, it looks like. Nothing major going on. There's that 4-pointer from last night. Aside from that, though, things look clear sailing. Not a whole lot going on there across New Zealand here today. South America region, a couple smaller earthquakes, it looks like. Yeah, actually, looks like the Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge had a 5.7 overnight, early in the morning, about 1 o'clock or so. Out there in the divergent boundaries. A couple smaller earthquakes here from yesterday in the Peru-Chile Trench, along with, looks like a 5.4 as well. Earlier this morning, the Columbia area, 5.0. That earthquake from yesterday, following some movement In the last 24 hours there, the Puerto Rico Trench, some minimal movement here today. Not a whole lot going on, although we're getting a little activity here across the Gulf of Honduras. Out here around the Cayman Islands area, a couple smaller quakes, upper fours actually, outside of the Georgetown region. And yeah, one from yesterday down here across the Gulf, and a more recent one over here in this area. Now this is a Caribbean plate. Got some couple different types of boundaries out here. Caribbean plate, it doesn't show it here, but I believe that's going to be I believe that's a divergent boundary across here. There's a couple subduction zones that aren't shown up here on the map either, but let's see here. Either way, slight uptick. I haven't really seen too much activity here recently. I'll continue to watch that though. A couple fours for now. Here in the States, one earthquake over here across the Oklahoma area, it looks like, a 1.7. Southern California, got a little swarm going on here across the Imperial Fault. Now remember, a lot of times pressure in the atmosphere, right? You got the low pressure systems, got high pressure, you got now a hurricane spinning off here. And then it's going to be dumping a bunch of rain here across the San Andreas Fault. We're going to watch this, see if it earthquake activity tends to pick up or not following the arrival and passage of the hurricane. Definitely keep an eye on it. For now, though, we have a little bit of activity on the Imperial Fault south of the border. A couple threes coming in here overnight and this morning. Slight activity in Southern Cal off the coast here of the Oceanside region as well, 2.2. The San Andreas Fault, for now, quiet. One earthquake out here outside of Mojave. Let's see if we got anything above the 2.5 level. Aside from down here in the Baja California area, 3.0. And then also this one over here from yesterday near the Grapevine. Northern California, of course, we had that 4-pointer from yesterday. But aside from that, mostly microquakes up and down the board, including around Long Valley Supervolcano. There's just a slight swarm going on there. Nothing going on up here across the Cascadia for now. Pretty quiet. Movement outside of Seattle here. Both sides of the Seattle Fault got 2.1, the latest. This earthquake here from early this morning. So slight activity, very small microquakes across the area in the last 24 hours. Yellowstone National Park, handful of smaller quakes. We'll double check that and make sure. See if we got anything spectacular going on. There's some of those smaller quakes being reported across the northwest corner of the park. All right, let's go out to the Pacific Ocean here. See what's going on for Hawaii. Minimal activity here. Looks like that earthquake swarm has died down. A couple smaller quakes there around Kilauea Volcano. This activity, though, looks like about 2 kilometers or about 2 kilometers deep below this area. It's hard to say with Kilauea Volcano. It comes and goes in terms of earthquake swarms. The latest update has not been put out yet with regard to Kilauea Volcano earthquake swarm activity. Right now it looks like things are just kind of minimal. Let's double check though and see what's going on out there. Let me zoom in here to this area. Just want to see one of these cameras. Get a pretty good idea of what's going on. Still smoking out there. Still light smoke around this area of the crater lava lake area. It's been like that though since the earthquake swarming began. So magma movement, earthquake swarms, inflationary tilt. Obviously a sign of pre-eruption, but it can pause at times, and it looks like that's what's going on here. Currently taking a slight pause in activity. Some of these maps not working. Let me check out this one. But definitely look at the there's that what looks like magma movement again. These are updated now. Yesterday, last night when we were looking at this, for some reason the data was absent. It wasn't updating, but it looks like everything's back to updating for now. Minimal earthquake activity, but there's still this movement right here. That's obviously a sign of some type of harmonic tremor, magma movement below the ground. It's long duration. It's not a quick spike like earthquake activity, which is obviously a sign of magma movement as well. But that kind of looks like some slow movement going on there across the Kilauea volcano. But of course, we'll continue to monitor that and provide updates. There's that well, we got in the Philippines 5.0. That earthquake coming in here looks like within the last half hour or so. So things definitely trying to kick up here across the western side of the Filipino plate. One earthquake out here in Iran, 4.8 from this morning it looks like. And the Mediterranean, let's check out the earthquake 3D globe for that. Looks like about the same as yesterday. Some small quakes out there. One earthquake, 2.9 north of Iceland there. Some of that activity from yesterday into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So we'll watch and see how things go. The live seismograph stations here look pretty calm for now across the board. We do have numerous stations out here monitoring the seismic data around the globe. For now, we'll get back here. Again, live stream is up not only on the Earthquake 3D stream here, but also for the Hilary. Running 2 live streams. Hurricane Hilary live stream. I'm hoping to get a web camera set up to monitor the arrival of Hurricane Hilary there into the Baja California area, and also down or up here in Southern California. Of course, by then it's supposed to be tropical storm, but that's still very, very, very rare for this to make it up this far. But again, we'll continue to watch that and report back on it. We'll catch you guys back here a little bit later this afternoon for some further updates. Looks like there was I didn't see this one here. Yeah, those are from yesterday, right after that 4.1. I was thinking those were new up here, but those are not new. All right, folks, have a good one. Stay safe out there. And, of course, we'll catch you guys back here a little bit later. Have a good one.